Okay, now let's go straight live to the Court of Appeal, where the court is currently hearing that application by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, who are seeking an interpretation of a ruling that was made earlier with regards to the tender of the ballot papers. Let's now listen it.
We'll go along with the court's direction. We'll go along. The only point I was pointing out is that there are many respondents here. Some of those respondents do not have any cross appeal. So when the respondent with the cross appeal addresses the court, then they should have the opportunity then at that time. In other words, they should not be called upon to respond to our appeal before the first respondent with the cross appeal addresses the court, so that they can then have the opportunity of replying to the cross appeal.
Yes, about my ladies, I filed a notice of appeal, and I would have had a standalone appeal were it not the election that we made to subsume our arguments to the main appeal. So you find among the respondents there are those supporting the appeal, and still among the respondents within the main appeal there are those opposed to the appeal. In the cross appeal, the converse is the case. So my humble submission would have been that indeed we have the main appeal argued as suggested by senior counsel, and the cross appeal argued as suggested. Anyone supporting the appeal can argue together with senior counsel, as the case may be, so that then we don't have these strands of submissions opposed and dissecting them, just so that we align arguments all in support or arguments all against, as the case may be.
We can then hear all the council.
Give me the whole thing.
If I may contribute, my lord, I think that complicates the matter to some extent. We had consulted, and our view was that if, like we are appearing for the second respondent, it would mean that we would be either supporting or opposing the cross appeal before it is argued. That's why our suggestion was the appellant argues his case, the first respondent replies, and in the process of replying argues the cross appeal, and all these other respondents now, including us, we come either supporting or opposing the cross appeal.
We have example, we are represented by the council. We want
Two of us out of the three, myself and Mr. Kamau Karoli, will be addressing. That's a $1 million question. Very conservatively, between us, both of us, we would politely request for 1.5 hours. Yes, your leadership we have, but you know, we are where we are here now today because of that animal.
Well, those are live pictures coming away from the Court of Appeal. Of course, that court is hearing an application by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. That was, of course, IEBC was seeking an interpretation of an, a ruling that was made earlier by the courts. All this with regards to the tendering process of the printing of ballot papers. Of course, it's a story that we're still keenly following for you, but let's revisit our top story once again, and that is all about that shocking incident, the death of Ambassador Bethel Kiplagat. And I have a statement here from President Daniel Arap Moi, and the former president said he learned of the demise of Ambassador Bethel Kiplagat with shock and disbelief. Mzee Moi described Ambassador Kiplagat as a patriotic Kenyan who gave the best of his abilities to the service of this nation. He also said that his humility and love for this country enabled Ambassador Kiplagat to rise to the highest levels of the civil service and diplomacy. And earlier on,